Yeah, right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction and cannot wait to start today's session. Hopefully, we've been getting a lot of responses and positive responses towards the sessions, and this has been so motivating. Thank you everyone for being here and coming to the fourth session. I know that this is a very overwhelming task to be there for 4 days, and I'm so happy that you guys are feeling helped and you guys are feeling positive about this and you guys are showing up. It motivates me so much. So it's already 4:04, and I would like to start now. And today's session is going to be all about academic stress, understanding academic stress, and to understand the techniques to deal with academic stress. So there are a lot of things that I have involved in today's sessions and today's PPT. So I'm going to be talking in detail about everything. Also, that is why I'm going to be a little rushing towards the concepts and how to, engage in self-help. So to start with, let's move to the first slide, Kirti. Thank you. So this is like a basic concept of psychology. If you guys are from psychology, you might already know. If you're not, so I would like to introduce this concept of stress. So when we talk about academic stress, the term is involved stress. So we need to know about stress, what exactly it is, how it functions. So there are two types of stress, basically. One is eustress, the kind of stress that motivates us. It is known as positive stress. It helps us in performance gaining. It helps us with our motivations. It helps us to get excited enough to get the task done. On the other hand, there is distress. Now, the stress levels, when they exceed the needed threshold, that is when the stress is exceeding a lot and our mind and our body is not able to, deal with that. That is when we call it as distress. This is negative stress. This hampers our performance. This leads to a lot of negative emotions. This takes a toll on our mind. And when we talk about academic stress, we are basically going to focus on distress today, because that is where we are going to need help with, right? So moving along, the next slide. Problems faced by students in the pandemic. So I have listed all the problems that I could think of that students are facing during the pandemic. We are students and we have been unable to study for a long time, especially when it comes to the pandemic has taken a whole new level of toll on our minds, and how to deal with that is going to be taken up further. So the pandemic has caused increased anxiety and stress among students. There's unstable emotions. At one point we are feeling very negative, at one point we are feeling motivated, and we think that okay, we can deal with this. Now there is disorganized study habits. So we are not we do not have those uniform strategies to come back to studying each and every day. Then we have disrupted routines, and that's because basically of the emotions we are facing. We are sleeping at night, and we are sleeping late at night, and we are waking up late, and the whole routine is somewhat disturbed, especially our studying routines. Then we have low motivation, procrastination, mental exhaustion, fatigue, disinterest is coming up a lot. So students have started noticing that they used to like study, and all of a sudden the pandemic has caused such mental effects that they are unable to study, and they're finding studies and academics a little more disinteresting. So there's disrupted sleep. People have been facing sleep problems due to the pandemic. There's low energy, there's poor mental health, there's exam anxiety, affected relationships, monotony, and melancholy, and we have appetite changes, we have weight changes, and buildup of a lot of anxiety. All of these things are basically mental health symptoms that they are indicators that we're having poor mental health, and due to this, all of these areas are getting affected. Moving to the next slide. I have categorized all these problems into five prominent spheres. These are unhealthy routines. We have reduced motivation. We have ineffective strategies, that is, ineffective studying strategies. poor mental health, and unhealthy habits. So these five things are basically the prominent, I would say, factors that are causing us, instability when we are trying to study. There's a lot of negativity that is surrounding us because of these five factors evolving around us. So moving along the next slide. I'm going to be discussing all these five factors. I'm going to be telling you how to target each and every factor that is affecting us when it comes to academic stress, how to target it, how to make use of these techniques, and how to, develop a plan for yourself, especially when it comes to academics, how to make your own plan to a study strategy for yourself, covering these five aspects. And let's get started with it. First thing is routine development. First, I would like to emphasize on how important routine is when it comes to studying and making it a habit to study. So if there's a disruption in routine, what basically happens is our body becomes more imbalanced. The hormones are imbalanced, the emotions are imbalanced, our fitness is not up to the mark. We are not mentally fit, we are not physically very fit, and we see that all these factors, they tend to impact our studies and our studying habits as well. So it is very important to set a routine so that I do not mean that you have to wake up at 5 a.m. every day or 6 a.m. every day. What I'm trying to say is, if your time of waking up is 9 a.m., so make sure you're waking up at 9 a.m. every day. This is how the circadian rhythm or the biological clock of our body works. So if one day you are waking up at 6 a.m., if another day you're waking up at 12 p.m., that is where disturbances in the body will happen, imbalance of biological clock and hormones will happen, and this will lead to problems in every sphere of life and not just academics. So it is very important to manage our routine, to make a stable routine and to stick to it, especially when it comes to sleep and waking cycle. It is very important to sleep at a fixed time and to wake up at a fixed time, even if it's 11 a.m. in the morning. If you are not if you are having night shift, or maybe you are not very comfortable waking up in the morning, you're not a morning person, even then I'm saying that have a fixed time of sleeping and waking up. So and it is very important to also divide your routine, and I'm going to tell you how. We have exercise and yoga after waking up. So the first thing is that we wake up on time. The second thing is that we do a little bit, if you can do a lot of it, that's good. But the point is consistency. We need to be consistent with it. So we need to acknowledge if the amount of exercise or yoga we are doing on the first day, will we be able to have that inconsistency with the remaining days as well. So if it is not possible for you to indulge in exercise and yoga, start with some stretches. But it is very important to have some body movement when you wake up, so that that energy buildup is there. So when the energy builds up right in the morning, that is where we can tell ourselves that we need to focus on our studies now. So that comes to the third point, that is starting with priority work. I would want you guys to, make a list of priorities. So we are going to go in the, we are going to go in the descending order. The most priority case is going to be the first one. So in case your most priority thing is studies at this moment, so make the list and top it on the first one. That studies is your first priority. Then it comes is second, third, fourth, fifth. Priority wise is something that we're going to go on a daily routine. So when we have that buildup of energy that our body movement gave us, then we are going to move to the priority work, and we are going to go list by list in the descending order. So first thing we do is the work of utmost priority. In case that is studies, we will do that. Then we move to the next priority, then we move to the third priority and fourth. That is how we make sure at the end of the day we are satisfied that okay, we might have missed some tasks, but those tasks were not the most important and the most urgent ones. We have basically covered the most important tasks, and that will be a satisfying feeling, as well as we are going to meet our everyday targets. Coming to practicing deep breathing and relieving stress and anxiety. The pandemic is causing a lot of stress and anxiety, and these things are coming very naturally. When it comes to education, when it comes to studying, these emotions are, they are impacting our mental health and impacting our studies as well. So to make sure that we have kept a check on our emotions and on our mental health, we are going to practice deep breathing on a regular basis. So we will incorporate that in our routine. So it depends on you when you want to fix that time for deep breathing. We need to have that for like 10-15 minutes every day. It would be better if we start, right before studying time. So we have a calm mind over there and our concentration is basically built up and we can focus on studies. Then we have timetable. And it is very important to remember that all of us are not very disciplined people, and it's very easy to make a timetable, but it's really hard to stick to it. And this is something that I myself find very difficult in my day-to-day life, that making a timetable is so easy and sticking to it is like a very difficult task. So this is something that I came up with personally. Try to make a flexible timetable, flexible in terms of time. Okay, divide your timetable in 4 quadrants. You have to take care of 4 quadrants in your day-to-day life, and these 4 quadrants are your study time, your leisure time, your chores, day-to-day chores, whatever you have, and self-care time. So make sure that you do all these 4 things, and you keep time frames for these things. And if you have job and other tasks, you can have a fifth quadrant as well. So if you're making a timetable that says that I will, start studying at 9 a.m. and I will study till 12 a.m. and that is when I'm going to, for 1 hour, I'm going to watch a movie for 1 hour, I'm going to have my lunch and I'm going to rest. And all these, you're literally labeling each and every activity with your time limit that you have. I would suggest you to not do that in case you're not a very disciplined person when it comes to, following a timetable. Rather have flexibility in your timetable. So if you want to study for 3 hours, so make a timetable, keep a time frame of 3.5 hours, so that even if on days you are, waking up a little late, or maybe you want to study less, you can incorporate into that one. Or there are more activities, there are more things that need to be done, so you can have that flexibility. Second thing, do not try to make a detailed timetable like I will brush at this time, I will take my tea at this time. Don't do that. Just stick to these 4 quadrants and keep them flexible, so that we are covering all aspects of your life, and especially we are dealing with education, and we are dealing it with it in a way that our mental health is not impacted negatively, but it is only impacted positively. Then it is very important to have a sleep hygiene. Throughout the day we are using our brains to study, then we're using our body, and it needs rest, it needs proper sleep, and you need to have a sleep hygiene. So depending upon your upon your type of sleep, what kind of sleep patterns you have, design your own sleep hygiene. Or I can give you some tips on that if you want that. Maybe we can cover that later if you ask for that in the comment section. Then it is very important to have a sleep hygiene, because if your mind and body does not get that amount of rest as it's needed, it won't be able to perform the next day. So 7 to 9 hours, it is like a mandatory time to have a good sleep, and it is very important to have a good sleep. So focus on the good sleep pattern of that. Deep breathing, we have covered already. We need to have adequate sleep, and that's covered. Moving along the next slide. There are strategies now. So most of the students right now, they're facing the problem that the whole routine is disturbed, and the way they used to study, they're not being able to do that, because the whole lifestyle is somewhat changed, right? We are not going to school and there's no consistency, we don't have that environment. We are not able to show discipline and motivation, because there's so much negativity going around. So I'm going to be covering all of those points over here. So the first one is setting priorities number wise, and I have already covered that. We are going to go in the descending order of priorities from the most important and urgent task to the least one. So this is how we will go through the chain throughout the day. Then we have starting with the highest priority task first, that's done. Divide your day, that is your studying time, into two halves. So for example, you are taking your whole studying time of the day to be like for around 3 to 4 hours. I would want you to divide it into two halves. So for example, it's 4 hours. You have to devote 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the evening. 2 hours in the morning are for studying, is to gain knowledge, going through notes, reading, and gathering the material that you need to. And the next half of the day is about it is about solving the question papers. So whatever, you cannot be studying the whole day, you cannot do that. And if you do that one day, you will find that the next day you are experiencing mental exhaustion, and you're feeling fatigue, you're feeling that your motivation has gone down. And this is a pattern that we see in most of the students. One day they are so motivated that they're ready to make or break life, and then they come next day when the motivation levels have come down, where the energy has come down, when the mental health has come down, when there's fatigue, when there's exhaustion, the interest levels have come down. So this is something that we would want to avoid. And how do we avoid it? We make a very practical plan of that. So the plan consists of dividing the time, the study time into half. The first is, gaining knowledge. The second is solving question papers in case you are preparing for entrance exams. So you can take, you can take old question papers. If you are studying for a competitive exam, do that. If you're studying for college semester exams, you can easily find the old question papers and solve them, because, studying helps, but let me tell you that solving question papers help more than studying in the day. So that is very important to know what all concepts are, most important, what have been repeated in the question papers, where you need to focus more, where you need to focus less when it comes to your studying pattern. Now, it is very important to not take one subject each day, but to take turns. So, for example, I'm studying today and I have a planned 2 hours study time for myself. Then I'm going to divide that study time for two subjects. Because if I keep reading one subject, then it is going to become very, boring and monotonous. And I will start to lose my interest over there. So it's important to keep changing the subjects whenever, and it's not important that you change it just once and you have two subjects per day. It is according to your own wish. If you whenever you feel like now I'm getting bored and now I need to change the subject, do that. It's okay. Even if you're studying one concept from one subject, it's all right. Just keep changing it so that you don't become bored of that. We have divide study material into days, and don't be hard on yourself. So here I'm going to mention that whatever study material you have, all the exams that you have, divide it practically into days. And by practically, I mean that don't divide it in a way that you're going to do 5 chapters in a day. That is not very practical. And if you are able to do that, this might cause a lot of fatigue, and the next day your energy levels will go down. So make sure you're doing that practically. You can stretch the syllabus and divide it according to the days, but make sure you don't exhaust yourself on very like on a particular day, and the next day there shouldn't be like instability. We want to have consistency, and that is what we need to work on and focus on. And there are days, there are days when we don't feel like studying, when I just don't want to study and I don't feel like it, and I just want to take a break today. And it happens with everyone, it happens with all of us. And those days, like, they feel good and they feel bad as well, because they give us so much guilt. So to knock off that guilt, I'm coming up with a technique that whenever those days come and you feel like I don't want to study and I want a mental break now, it's okay to have a mental break. Please do have that. But if you can incorporate a little bit of information over there in a very interesting way. Maybe if you have taken 1 day break from studies, so we need to make sure that after that 1 day break, you're coming back to study, right? That it is not breaking your pattern, and it's not like you 1 day break has lasted for a month now and you are not getting back to studies again. So to make sure of that, on that day when you're taking that mental health break, or you just want to chill and you want to enjoy and have family time, do that, but take out like 5-10 minutes and watch videos of related to your study material. That is going to motivate you a little, and that is not going to make you guilty at the end of the day. That we tend to have these guilty thoughts at the end of the day, especially the people who are students, that today I wasted my whole day and I didn't study anything. So this guilt comes up and it affects our mental health directly. So to avoid that guilt, it is very important to do even a little bit of things, so that in the end, you can, at the end of the day, you can say that, okay, I did something. At least I had planned that I would do nothing today, but I did something. At least I'm proud of myself. So to get there, try these things. Coming to the next slide, we have been facing issues with motivation, especially when it comes to the pandemic. There's so much happening around, and I keep repeating all these things because this is a repetitive thing. The pandemic is literally affecting each and every aspect of our health. So we see that our motivation is rising one day and it goes down the other day, and this keeps happening a lot, and this causes a lot of mental fatigue, and we are not able to study in a consistent pattern. And a lot of us have been finding ourselves in a place where we are not able to study for months because the motivation is gone. So to bring it back or to keep it consistent, I have a few tips and techniques for you. So first is that whenever your motivation is going down, especially for the people who are not too much into studying, you can keep reminding yourself that why you want to do this, why you started, so why it is important to do this thing. So when that that those thoughts build up in your mind, that is where somewhere down the line you might have some motivation. What it means to fulfill your goals, what are the goals attached to your subjects and your studies, and how important are those goals for you. So if those goals are very important for you and you're going to reach them by studying, then you need to remind yourself that, and not in a toxic way, not in a negative way. If you're not able to study and you feel that, okay, I might not be able to reach my goals, don't go into that don't go into that extreme. Rather, try to bring yourself back to the positive extreme, that I need my goals to be fulfilled. I can do that, and let's get to study, even if it's like a little bit for each day. Let's at least start for now. So the next thing is that don't question your abilities. It is very important to remember that no matter what kind of task we indulge into, we tend to doubt ourselves a lot. We start to doubt ourselves. When it comes to studying, we have a lot of guilt associated with it, because we tend to feel that, okay, I might not be able to do that, I'm not good enough, and there are such good performers, people have known this field better than I have, and there are people exceeding in this field, excelling there, and I'm not. All these type of negative talks, all these type of self-doubting questions and thoughts, we need to keep them aside. Rather, focus on what we can. Instead of focusing what we can't, let's focus on what we can. Do not doubt your abilities. I'm sure that if you are right here and you are trying, if you are attending this session and you want to figure out ways, that is enough to know that you are, you have that potential and you are determined towards your goals, that you're serious towards them, right? So do not just take this as a sign that I'm telling you over here that you do not need to, you do not need to discourage yourselves. You do not need to doubt your abilities. Since you're here in the session and you're trying this hard, that you're attending this session, that means that you will get through. You have that determination, you are a problem solver, and you will get through. So focus on these words whenever you have these doubting thoughts again. Then we have don't blame yourself or feel guilty if not being able to stick to study routine. And that is something that I'm going to tell you personally, because I'm not able to, have a rigid routine or stick to timetables. And I found myself that I felt very guilty because, I could not stick to routines and my expectations. And that is when I also understood that my expectations were exceeding my mental health. So I need to lower my expectations with myself, because I need to work on my mental health. And as soon as I lower my expectations, my mental health will automatically improve, and I will be able to work better and improve in my ways. Then we have focus on more why I can do this instead of why I can't do this. This is something we have discussed before. Focus on positive self talk. So when we talked about making a routine, creating a routine, I would want you to incorporate this little thing in your routine. Take out 10 minutes of your time every day. Maybe it would be best if you do that before sleeping, and close your eyes and sit down and just think about all the positive things that you can. Talk to yourself positively. Even if it comes to past, account all the achievements that you have made. You have, all the achievements that you have done till now, and all the things, all the obstacles that you have been through. Think about all the goals that are ahead in front of you and you are reaching towards them, how hard you are doing that. Also, apart from these thoughts, try to motivate yourself in that positive self talk by talking to yourself. And how do you do that is, I'll give you a brief example of that. I will sit here with my eyes closed and I will tell myself that I can do this. I have done something like this before and I know my potential and I understand how hard it is, but I can do it. I mean, everyone can do it, right? Everyone has that level of intelligence and I have it too. If anyone else can do it, then I can do it as well. I believe in myself and I believe that my goals are very important to me, and if they are so important to me, I need to realize that I can do it. All these type of statements and positive self talk is going to take you a long way, because when you have these thoughts, when you have this positive self talk with yourself and you go to sleep, you're going to have a sound sleep, first of all. Second, you have that confidence. Third, you will build up your self esteem. And fourth, you're going to gain motivation out of it. So this is very important exercise, and do it for like 10 minutes. Just spare 10 minutes of your routine for this little exercise. Now, here's a pro tip for you all. On days of very low motivation, focus on self care habits, watch a video related to your study material, or solve a question paper. So, I have discussed this just around right now, but I'm going to tell you that on days when you're feeling least motivated and you don't want to study, do not study, it's okay, take your break, but remember to focus on yourself. Focus on your mental health. If that's a mental health day that you have taken, remember that you need to focus on your mental health on that day. If that's a day that you have taken just because you have been bored and you need some entertainment and you want to socialize with people, stick to that. If you want to watch a movie and you want to be entertained on that day, stick to that. But remember, do not waste that day. Do not waste that day lying on the bed all day long. Do something, but do something at least. And when it comes to studying, like I said, just to have a guilt free moment at night, remember that you can always just stick to watching one video, 5 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes, related to your study material, so that you can have that guilt free thoughts at the end of the night. Our mind tends to drive us in a way that we have that guilt building up naturally. So we need to find a solution to that, and this is what I'm giving you right now. Moving along the next slide, we have other techniques. So what are these other techniques? These are the techniques that have not been told before. They have not been, they have not been exercised, and they have not been introduced in the previous sessions. So when I talk of deep breathing, when I talk of mindfulness, when I talk about, having a routine and all these things, these are the things that we have already discussed in the previous sessions. So when it comes to a new session, I think we should come up with a little more new techniques. So we have progressive muscle relaxation. This is an exercise that you can do every night before you sleep. This is basically a stress relieving exercise. So the whole day chores, the whole day about when we are stressed, when we are going through, when we are taking care of our academics, we are doing all those chores, it builds up a lot of stress. At the end of the day, we need to release that stress, and that is what we do by practicing progressive muscle relaxation. I'll tell you what it is. It is basically something that you will be guided through. So you can find videos on YouTube about progressive muscle relaxation. So write down the term in case you want to research about it, or you want to find these videos. So progressive muscle relaxation is like a step-by-step series in which the guided voice, the voice will guide you to, tense your body muscles, each and every muscle at a time simultaneously, and to relax. So when you tense the body muscle and you tense it well and then you relax it, when you relax it, you feel that the stress has been released out of your system. This is a very important and crucial activity when it comes to people who are having a lot of stress. They have they have these patterns of anxiety and overthinking and overstressing about these things. They easily feel threatened, and they're in a panicky situation. They find themselves easily in panicky situations. So this is like a daily routine type of an activity that you need to stick to, and it's definitely going to help you a lot. And it is not as subjective as meditation, because meditation is hard to be taught, especially when it comes to the virtual world. It is very hard to be taught. So this is something that is very easy to follow. You don't need to use your own creativity, you do not need to use your own mind. You just need to follow what is said on that video. Just put on your earphones, keep your phone aside, and lie down on the bed and follow what the voice is asking you to do. Then we have guided imagery. Guided imagery is something that you can also look up on YouTube, as well as you can create on your own. So guided imagery basically means imagining, and we are imagining positive things, good things. This is also a activity that you can do whenever you're feeling stressed, whenever you're feeling anxious, whenever you're having that rush of negative thoughts, or maybe whenever maybe through the day the day went well and now you need to sleep and you're not able to sleep. You can do it at that very time before sleeping. If you try to do these activities, if you take out half an hour and you incorporate these activities, you will definitely have a good sleep, as well as everything will work subconsciously. So I won't go into details of that, but everything will work subconsciously, and you will gain strength, mental strength from inside, and not just at the conscious level. So we're talking about guided imagery. Guided imagery basically means that you're sitting, alone in a quiet environment. And if you feel like, for the first few times, you can, use YouTube for guided imagery. Otherwise, you just need to sit down in a relaxed environment with a relaxed state of mind, and you need to imagine all the positive things that are, that you can imagine. These can be your goals, okay, where you want to be. This can be your future as well. This can be all the life, the beautiful life. Use your imagination as a tool to go to the extreme beautiful side of your mind and explore it. So if I am sitting here, I might want to imagine about a park, and there are flowers all around, and I want to lie down in the grass, and there's this beautiful weather. Maybe it's raining a little, and how relieving is that? I'm lying there alone, and there's no one, and there's wind rushing through my face. The wind is cold, and I'm living that moment. This was a few seconds of guided imagery that I did to myself. You can create your own versions. I'm a nature lover, so I did nature. Whatever you like to do, you can imagine that. Then you have positive self talk. And we have already talked about these things, about positive self-talk. Positive self-talk means that you are talking to yourself in a very positive approach. There is no doubting, there is no negativity, there are no questions, but you are telling yourself things that you need to be told. Okay, so we are either in need to be told about things from the external environment, and if we don't get that, then conflicts arise. So for example, if I need to be told that someone is proud of me, and I'm not being told that, then I find conflicts in my life and my performance. So what do? I cherish myself, I praise myself, because I know how hard I'm working, and I know that the efforts that I'm putting in, I am proud of it. I'm proud of myself. I know with this potential, with this strength, and with this approach, I can do anything that I want to in life. And I will be able to meet my goals. I'm going towards my goals, and that is my self-growth. I'm moving towards my self-growth. These are the statements that you can speak to yourself. This is basically called positive self-talk. So um, just to summarize, there's this routine that you need to stick to. Okay, so first of all, start with a routine, start with a timetable. Also, I would like to mention one point that if today you think about what study material you are going to be covering tomorrow, that like you plan your study material for tomorrow, that is not going to help you, because you are literally raising your expectations, and you haven't stepped tomorrow yet, right? You don't know how tomorrow is going to be, how you're going to be feeling, how your motivation levels are going to be. That is why I'm going to suggest you to focus on that day's study material only. Divide your study material on that day only. So if you need to plan that what am I going to study today, just plan for today. Okay, so basically you do divide your study material into days and weeks, but I told you to keep it flexible, right? So you can so it's like you're covering a whole sphere of education in not limited days, but you're covering a limited amount in a lot of days, so that we can also work on our mental health and self-care activities at the same time. Now, when we talk of routine, we wake up at time, and we start with our boosting up our energy levels by doing a little bit of stretches, or maybe yoga, or maybe exercise, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel like doing. Then we move ahead, and we have our breakfast and everything that we want to. Then we start before we are sitting to study, we are taking a few deep breaths. We take that, we calm our mind so that our concentration buildup is there. Now we focus on the studies. Now, how do we study? We study in a pattern where we take breaks. And yeah, I think I forgot about it. Do take breaks in between. If you're studying for 2 hours straight away, that is going to hamper your mental health as well. And that is going to hamper your levels of studying as well. So do take breaks. You can take them accordingly. If you need a break in every half an hour, you can do that. If you need a break in every 45 minutes, you can do that. But do remember to take like 3 to 4 breaks in between. And you divide your study material into two parts. The morning part is about studying, so you study that, and you keep changing the subjects. So when you keep changing the subjects, your brain does not feel bored. This is a trick to remember, and this trick is going to help you in the long run, because if you stick to one subject in a day, you might not want to go back to studying the next day. So you trick your mind into this. Your brain tends to get bored of studying one subject, so you trick your mind into covering maybe more than one subject in a day. Just maybe take it lightly, don't be too hard on yourself, because if you're hard on yourself, that is when you realize that your mental health is impacted, and you might not want to go back to studying the next day. So take it easy on yourself. After studying, you take your breaks, you take your leisure time, and you do whatever you feel like doing. So if you want to watch a movie, do that. If you want to if you want to play a family game, do that. Whatever you want to do, whatever you like doing. If you want to paint, do that. It does not mean that you're going to, if you want to study, you're going to study the whole day, and you're going to study for a month, and you won't do anything else. That is a very toxic habit. and incorporate each and everything in your routine. So it's about studying, it's about hobbies, it's about leisure time, it's about self-care time, it's about family time. So incorporate all these things, and the key to having a good studying routine is balance between all these things. We get bored of one thing and then we lose the other things as well, so it is very important to keep a balance between them. The next part comes about solving question papers. So do that, after you have taken your leisure time, you have indulged in hobbies and you have refreshed your mind, you come back in the afternoon or evening, but make sure you do come back. And whatever concepts you did in the morning, what you're going to do is solve questions of that from the question papers that you have. And that is going to strengthen your concepts as well as give you more understanding about the exam pattern. Now after you have done that, you can take your time according to your timetable, leisure time, whatever it is. Before you go to sleep, you do a bit of deep breathing. You can do muscle progressive muscle relaxation. You can even record your thoughts. Journaling is going to help you with your stressors. And maybe I would like to share a personal technique over here that I have been using in the past few days. um my days are hectic and full of work and everything. When I go to sleep at night, my mind is not so much calm and it's stressed, and it's thinking about all the things that all the activities that I need to undertake in the next day. That is when I dim the light of my room, I close the door, and I sit alone. I wash my hands, I wash my face, I wash my feet. Washing feet is very important. It releases anxiety out of your system. So, and then I sit on my bed, and then I take a diary over there, and I take a pen, and I think of all the good things that happened that day, or maybe all the things that I learned that day, anything that I feel like doing on that day, not just sticking to good things or what I learned that day. Maybe I used my mind creatively and I came up with a whole new concept that I explored, and I write about it. And by the end, I stop writing about it. Takes like 5-10 minutes. I feel so good, I feel so positive, and my positive emotions are rushing in. And it, at the same time, it calms me down, it calms down my anxiety and stress, and I keep the diary aside and I'm able to have a good night's sleep. So this is something, this is a personal tip. Like this is something that I do on it, that I've been doing since a few days. If you feel like, you can try this one as well. Now, before sleep, as we have discussed, try to do all these activities, and remember that studying and mental health are two concepts, and we need to focus on both of them. So, if studying is exceeding, our mental health is impacted negatively, and if our mental health, and if you're only focusing on our mental health and not studying, then our studies are impacted. So, we need to create a balance between the two. So, I think that's all. Now I'm going to be asking questions. And before we start with the questions, I'm going to ask the participants to interact, to tell me about their problems, what they face while studying, and what are basically their problems they find that they are not able to sit for studying, so that I can help them individually.
Great. So, Garima, do you want me to read out the questions or would you be doing that?
Um, Kirti, I can take them up. If I miss any questions,
Yes.
will you let me know?
Yes, yes.
It's better when I read it myself. I get better understanding. So, we have the first question. It says, "Can you please talk about sleep hygiene tips?" Okay. Depending upon your pattern of sleeping, some people have a very light sleep. Some people have a good sleep, no matter what kind of a day it went. Mine personally is a very light sleep, and the sleep hygiene tips that I'm going to be sharing right now is that whenever you're going to sleep, do the things that I asked you to. Progressive muscle relaxation. We have light sleep because there's overload of stress, so we need to calm ourselves down. We need to calm our mind and our body, and we do it with the techniques of psychology. So first one is progressive muscle relaxation. This will take approximately 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the video, on the duration of video that you find. it's going to help you a lot. Second is deep breathing. Deep breathing is not something that you need to practice once a day. You can take 4 or 5 times. You can take it up as many times as you want. Deep breathing calms our nervous system down. It calms, and when the nervous system is calmed down, our brain calms down, automatically. So this is how deep breathing helps us. You can go for meditation. So meditation helps a lot. Meditation is basically, in case you have not practiced, just sit with your eyes closed and let whatever is coming into your mind flow. Okay, don't focus on anything, because if you start focusing on those thoughts, that is where overthinking will start, new thoughts will start. Rather, let them flow. So when they come and they go, it's okay, but when they come and you hold on to them and you create more, that's the problem. So let them flow. After some time, you will realize that you're going into the state of trance, and you need to focus over here. That is the technique that I use. Move your eyes and focus over here. So whenever you are, you find yourself that, okay, now I'm thinking, then take a deep breath and focus here. Every time it happens, take a deep breath and focus here. In some time, you will start realizing that you are moving in the state of trance, and it will clear up your mind, it will calm your mind down, it will calm your body down, it will help you with initiating all the positive emotions and release of good hormones, positive hormones, and this is going to help you with sleep. Wash your feet before you go to sleep, and make sure that there are minimal distractions around you. Your door is closed. Whatever is distracting you, disturbing you, make sure that all those disturbances have been taken care of. And remember, the most important thing is to sleep at time. To fix a time is the most important thing about sleep hygiene. To fix a particular time and sticking to that. And if I want to sleep at 11 p.m., I'm going to keep my phone on DND at 10:30, and I'm going to lie down, and I'm going to be ready to sleep, prepare myself for sleep. And by 11 o'clock, when 11 o'clock is my time to sleep, half an hour before I should take for myself, for preparing myself for sleep. This is how the cycle of sleep develops. So I hope this is going to help you. But nobody admit that someone is getting this type of indifferent behavior. How can we recognize it? I'm sorry, I missed the point that you have commented this on. So just also mention the point that you're trying to say, so that we can have your comment again. Could you share links of YouTube videos for guided imagery and muscle relaxation techniques? I will have to look through these, and this will take a little bit of time. And I think today also we are, running a little late. You can find it yourself on YouTube. And if you don't, just text me. You have my number. I think you're on the group. I might share these on group as well. So just remind me once, maybe I'll share them on the group. Ma'am, I feel lonely. Okay, so I would want you to explain, when you talk about being lonely, are you lonely because you are isolated, as in you don't have contact with people, or are you feeling mentally lonely? That is where I need you to explain, and I will be able to help you with it. Not being able to concentrate properly. Concentration is one thing that most of the students find, that this is the loophole that we're falling in. This is the problem that is coming when it comes to studying. Concentration building is like, it is a little tricky thing. But remember, if your mind is full of stressors, your mind is full of things that are stimulating it, so you need to focus on calming it down. So that is why I asked you to do deep breathing before you study. Calm down your mind, whatever you can do. If you want to meditate for 10 minutes before you study, do that. Whatever calms down your mind is very important to be done right before you sit for studying. And please don't sleep away after calming your mind. Go to study and do study. Not being able, okay, that is done. As I started reading any books in middle only, I feel sleepy. That is what I have talked about. When we take up one subject, and we try to we try to read it and it's been time, and now we are feeling bored of it, and then we feel sleepy. That is when you switch the subject. In case you're feeling sleepy right from the start, you start reading and then you're feeling sleepy, try to have a sleep hygiene, because you're going to take at least a week to practice sleep hygiene. It is very important for sleep for study patterns. When once you start with proper sleep hygiene and proper adequate sleep, that is when you will find that during the day you're not getting so much tired. If you need naps in the afternoon, do that. After you wake up from your nap, go back to studying. But it is very important to complete your sleep first, and even after that, if you're feeling sleepy, wash your face. Do not have coffee. Coffee does not help you in the long run. It impacts your health physically, and it impacts your biology. It impacts your hormonal circulation, and it creates imbalances in the hormones. So do not have a frequent or very regular consumption of coffee. Rather, if you need to, have it like once a week or something, but do not depend on coffee. Procrastinate till the end moment. This is a problem that a lot of us find, that we have procrastinating behaviors, and we're going to take care of that by procrastination is basically our unconscious mind not able to deal with the stressors. So when there's a lot of stress and we are not even aware of it, it causes us to avoid those particular activities. So in this case, it is studying. So my mind is telling me to avoid studying and to procrastinate it. That is basically, buildup of stress. So to take care of those stress levels, we are going to do limited things in a limited day. Okay, we are not going to overload ourselves with studying, and we are going to keep it flexible, and we are going to do bit by bit. Also, we are going to work on techniques of calming our mind down and calming down our anxiety and stress. I'm preparing for entrance, but sometimes I feel I can't do it and I get discouraged and lose interest in my studies. Okay, so this happens a lot when it comes to competitive exams, because competitive exams are like, comparatively more difficult. So we find ourselves being, we are demotivated and we are discouraged, and we find that we are disinterested now. So I have already discussed all these things before. Try to have positive self talk. Sit down at night and have those statements with yourself. Tell yourself that you can do it. Tell yourself that you started for a reason and you're going to meet that reason. Tell yourself that these are the goals I need to meet and I will meet them. Tell yourself about your abilities. Tell yourself how much potential you have. Tell yourself how much this means to you, and this is how you're going to get to it. Okay. And for motivation and everything, we have covered before. Losing interest is something that comes out of unstable motivation levels. One day I'm feeling very motivated to study and I take like 3-4 chapters in a day, and the next day I feel exhausted and I feel that I'm mentally fatigued and I don't want to study, and I lose interest in that. Do not do not get into those patterns of instability. Rather, have a very stable and balanced routine is going to help you with the emotions. Like we have discussed in the previous sessions, how routines help us with our emotional regulation, with our mental health. After hearing bad news, unable to fall asleep and unable to focus on studies for days and at stretch. Okay, so hearing about bad news. Okay, so this does directly impact our mental health a lot. And these days we are getting bad news from like every corner. So what we do is that we cannot avoid that, and we should not. I think when it comes to close people, what we can do is calm down our mind. Okay, try mindfulness. Try to focus on the present moment. Also take deep breaths. You need to if you need to, try to journal and try to engage in self catharsis. If there is overloading of negative emotions, try to write them down in a very with a flow, so that you are not even getting time to think of what you're writing. You just keep writing down whatever is coming up on your mind. That is an activity. This is called catharsis. So your unconscious mind is, all the material, all the negative emotions and all the conflicts that are brought up onto the conscious level to our awareness, so we can deal with them. Also, practice anxiety calming strategies and stress relieving exercises that we have just discussed. Do focus on progressive muscle relaxation. It takes you a long way when it comes to stress and anxiety and other psychological problems as well. While studying one topic, there are thoughts about so much syllabus and the limited time, and due to this we end up doing not even a single topic. Any tips? Okay, so this is something that I have discussed before. Do not, okay, when we when we take all that study material and we realize there's so much of it and we have not covered a lot of it, this causes a lot of stress, and this is very natural. After you get that, what you need to do is calm down your mind. Also, take little bit of divide your material and take little bit of each aspect of material on every day. The point is to have consistency. You can, if even if you can have if you can study 10 chapters in a day, you will not be able to go a long way with studying, because this is not really a good study pattern. Consistency is something that you need. Always remember that slow and steady wins the race. So it is something like this. You're the turtle and you need to take slow steps, little steps, but to win the race, you need to be consistent. You need to keep walking and not like the rabbit, just stop. So remember that. How to develop yourself of being habitual towards timetable and how to make a well planned timetable. So timetable, like I've said, do not make a rigid one, do not make a detailed one, and make a flexible one and divide it into 4 or 5 quadrants, like I mentioned before. And stick to that time frame only. You do not need to have a time for brushing. You do not need to have a time for watching TV. You do not need to have a time for using social media. Rather, you need to make a timetable that gives you an idea. Okay, this to this hours in my study hours. After this is my leisure time in which I can do whatever I feel like doing. I can watch TV, I can watch movies, I can socialize with my friends, I can go on social media, I can do anything that I want. It's just for my entertainment. So keep it into try to divide them into categories, rather detailed timetable, and a good routine will help you stick with a timetable. And like I've said, don't make a detailed and rigid timetable. It's going to make you feel guilty at the end of the day, and that is something that is not good for your mental health and we would want to avoid. I'm highly forgettable, even common daily works and name. Okay, for you easily forget things. Name of place near me, and used to take stress about this will work with family members or relationship with university members. Okay, so I think you're having forgetful problems. Problems with forgetfulness. You easily forget things. That is because our mind is getting overloaded with information and we are not focusing on the present moment, on the present thing that is going on. So for example, right now there are like 16 tabs open in my mind. This is something that we have heard right before. So there are a lot of things that are going on inside my mind. There are a lot of backstage activities that are going in my mind, and I'm not able to completely focus on the present moment. And that is what causes forgetfulness, because information is not taken up that well, and the quality is the quality of information is poor and it does not get retained. So this is something about forgetfulness. So you know try to indulge in mindfulness. When you are in a moment, focus on only that one. Forget about everything else. Let your thoughts not drive you to like in another dimension, but focus on what is happening, the present moments, and focus on your sense organs. Take deep breaths whenever you're thinking that whenever you're feeling that your thoughts have taken a toll and they're pulling you. Take deep breaths and come back to the present moment. Then take deep breaths and come back to the present moment. This is an exercise that you can repeat on a daily basis, and you can practice, and you can, become an expert in this one. There are certain subjects I am not at all interested in, but I still have to study in order to pass the semester. This creates frustration and forces me to stop studying that subject. What should I do under such situations? Okay. So when we talk about hating a few subjects, we've all been through that. We have all been there. That there were a few subjects that we literally hate and we cannot study. I cannot even think about opening up this subject book. This happens with all of us, and it is happening because we have not opened up that book. If you ask me honestly, what happens is that it's not the subject that is, making you go against it. It's rather your thoughts about it. And what you need to do is try and engage yourself more in that subject. When you start reading it, when you start exploring that subject, you will start to find it interesting. So for example, there's a person that I know who is into maths, and I asked that person that, how can you do maths? Like, how could you even be able to do maths? It's so boring. And the person told me that you find it boring because you never studied it well enough. So in case you're getting my point, just open your books and start with it. Start right away. Do not even think about it. Don't let the thoughts flow. Just start right away. And you will eventually, with time, gradually, you will start finding it interesting. And we have seen cases where people who hated a few subjects, when they started reading them, they found it so interesting that they, when they started exploring, they found those subjects so interesting that they found careers in those subjects. So try to engage in them more. How do we remember the things for long? Okay, write them down, make a list. And writing helps you when it comes to studying. Take notes. It's very important to take notes, because when we are taking notes, we are becoming attentive to the material as well as to the present moment, because we are using our fingers, we're using our body into that as well, along with our mind. That is like two aspects of us focusing on a single thing. And the information is not coming only by reading through the brain and eyes. It is coming from our hands as well, from our body as well. So it increases our focus, it increases our attention, and it increases our it increases our retaining power as well. So make notes. Feel high, angry easily, and take care every mistakes of mine or others. How to overcome? um I'm not able to understand your message. It says feel high, angry easily, and take care every mistakes of mine. Okay, so you have these thoughts coming up in your mind, these angry thoughts. You get easily angry about mistakes of yourself, mistakes of others. I think this is what it is. I might be wrong, but I'm getting this only. For your emotions, we have covered this in the last 3 sessions. Try to focus on the present moment. The thoughts are past driven in your case. So the only thing that is going to make it worse is that you you kind of dwelling on that pattern, on letting the past take over you. Rather focus on the present moment. Calm your mind down. When it comes to thoughts, accept them, as well as be aware of what is going on in your mind. When you're aware, like you said that you are aware, accept them. Whatever is going on, accept them with an open heart, with open hands. And no matter how negative and brutal the information looks like, try to accept it. As long as we are running away from these emotions, they are going to be chasing us. So what we need to do to be able to deal with them is accept them. And as we accept them, the intensity of these emotions, they reduce. I'm feeling guilty, angry, and frustrated when I'm not able to I'm not able to study as much as I used to before, and then my motivation goes down. That one. Okay. So what is happening here is that you used to study like well before, and now it is not happening. You need to remember that this is a pandemic. This is not a natural situation. This is not a normal situation. This is not something that our minds and our bodies have been trained of. Our minds and our bodies are trying to adapt with it, although there's a lot of conflicts that are going on physically as well as mentally. So remember to be easy on yourself. Even if you're studying, it's all right. As long as you're studying, it does not matter how much you were studying before. Because do not even try to compare your previous self with like previous to the pandemic to now, because things have changed and things are still changing. Our mind is trying to adapt to so many things, and to help our mind with it, we need to be a little less hard on ourselves, be more easy on ourselves. And also, like you said that your motivation levels, we have talked about that. Set a routine, and no matter what you do, have that study time, and in that study time, study only all these techniques we have discussed. So stick to those, and these are going to help you, I'm sure. How to control anger. Anger management. Anger management is something that I think I've covered in the emotion session, and this is going to take a lot of time, so I'm only going to brief up on that. Controlling anger means we need to understand anger. Anger comes out of us feeling threatened. That is when we are getting angry about it. We are getting angry emotions because we are trying to defend ourselves. When we feel that something is threatening us, targeted towards us, we feel angry, we try to defend ourselves. This is basically anger. And how we control is that um, we try to reduce our anxiety, we try to reduce our stress as well, we try to think from a rational approach, we become more accepting towards the person, what the person is saying. If the person is saying something for my improvement, for my benefit, we need to focus on that. If the person is saying something contradictory, we need to remember that if a person is saying something criticizing and it does not make sense to you and it's not very rational, and they have just said it to make you feel bad, so remember that the whole purpose of that statement was to make you feel bad, and it's happening. So the only thing that you can do to come out of it is that remember that they want this from you, right? So do not let that happen. Take a deep breath, keep coming back to the present moment. Use the grounding techniques 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take deep breaths, go to nature if you can, and distract your mind. Do not sit with these angry thoughts, and if you're sitting with them, sit with them only to solve the problems. Now, what to do when there are multiple subjects for me to keep juggling so I don't get bored. Instead, I have only one project, okay, that I need to focus on to finish for graduation. But because there's been so many things that have happened in between, I've completely lost touch with the work and cannot even make myself start working with. Okay, so if you're talking about dissertation, I completely understand. There are not a lot of subjects that you can engage in, and there's just one project that you need to focus on, and you're not able to do that because your motivation has gone down. And what we can do is we can start somewhere. So this is a kind of procrastinating the whole subject, the whole activity that needs to be done. And in case of procrastination, our mind is developing stress and becoming, and it's the more you procrastinate it, the more the stress is going to develop, and that is how your mental health will be impacted and your work is not going to get done. So I'll tell you a trick over here. This is for everyone. Um, when things are like this and you cannot, find the motivation to start them again or even start it from right from the beginning, you just sit with that thing and, don't think that I will do this much today. Don't plan anything. Just start with it. Okay. Just start. Just think that, take it casually. करके देखते हैं, you know, something like this. Let's get started somewhere. Okay, don't even think that don't even plan ki, I'm going to do this much today, and there's so much of load, and how do I cover that, and how am I going to, you know, divide my whole material into this, and how am I going to do not build up more stress. Rather, just go ahead with doing the work. When you start, that is where you start to build up interest. That is where you start to do things, and things get started for you as well. That is where your mind adapts to it, and the stress levels go down because your work is getting done now initially. So when as long as you start, you are going to, you know, you are going to get the work done. When if it's about dissertation, if there are 10 things that need to be done in the dissertation, you can take like uh, 2 days for one thing to get done, or maybe more than that, according to you can suit to your own levels. But the trick is to just get started with it without any thoughts. Get started with it. Please share YouTube version. Recorded would be sufficient for when I need. I can listen. 6th May, day one, full of information and knowledge. Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, we are going to be sharing the recording of these sessions on our page, that is Seeking My Mind. Follow Seeking My Mind on Instagram. That is where you're going to find the videos of all the sessions. As I'm not getting time, these days, I'm going to take a few days, and I'm definitely going to upload the sessions over there. Also, remember to follow the Psych Life, because, you know, this is the Psych Life is the organization hosting the whole event, and it was their idea. And to be honest, and personally, to come out personally, it's an amazing page and an amazing initiative. So do follow Seeking My Mind and Psych Life. And for videos, we are going to be uploading them on Seeking My Mind soon. How to control procrastination habit. Okay, we have discussed this before, but I'm going to give you a few tips over here. Procrastination is going to lead to even more stress, and going to, you know, take up that vicious cycle of stress that is running in your conscious mind as well as your unconscious mind. The trick over here is to get started. Don't plan anything, don't even think about how much you're going to cover that day on, or don't even, you know, go through the notes about how much syllabus you have. Don't go through the material, don't do anything. Just, you know, take up your material and get started somewhere. Even if you're doing 2 pages in on that day, that means you're it's better than doing zero, right? Once you get into this habit, one day you do that, and you're going to go to sleep, and you will, have these guilt free thoughts that, okay, I did something today at least. This is something that is going to motivate you the next day, and you can do 2 more pages, maybe 3 more pages, maybe 4 more pages, whatever suits you. And for procrastination, remember that you need to cleanse your mind, you need to calm your mind, and, you know, uh, try the stress relieving techniques and exercises that I just asked you to. Also, you know, set a routine and take things flexibly. Do not become rigid with your study pattern. Rigidity does not help when it comes to study patterns and timetables. With timetables, it may help some people, but most of the people it does not help. So what is important is to remember to be easy on ourselves. As much as we can cover in a day, we will do that. While studying, suddenly my mind gets distracted and start to overthink. How can I control that? Okay, so while studying, your mind diverts, you know, to a certain thought, and your mind starts to dwell on it and starts to overthink about it. What you do is that the moment you realize that you have fallen into the trap of overthinking, you take a deep breath and you bring your mind back to the present moment. It is not your book. It is not your book. Back to your book, because your mind is finding that boring, and it's taking your mind away from, studying and that book. So do not come back to that book. Rather, drink water, wash your face if you need to. Come back to the senses. Take deep breathing, practice grounding techniques, and then get back to study. This is something, this is a trick to the mind, that we need to keep getting back our mind back to the present moment. And when it's in the present moment, take deep breaths. And it is very important to practice mindfulness even when it comes to studying, because if you're not focused on the material and your mind is focused somewhere else, that means that the whole study time is getting somewhat wasted. So we need to remember that, try to remind yourself again and again that I have the rest of the day for everything else. Even if it's thinking, if it's chores, I have divided my day, and I have just started my day with my studying routine, and I'm just going to focus on that, because if I don't focus on that, I won't be able to do the other things as well. So if I focus on this and I do this well, I will be able to take care of all other aspects as well. And also, for you, I would say that prepare a worry time as well. A worry time is basically 10 to 15 minutes of time that you take out of your daily life, and you practice this every day. What you're going to do is, for example, I have set my worry time from 8 to 8:15 p.m. Now this is the time frame where I'm going to think and worry about all the things that that have been coming up in my mind. I'm going to take all the stress that I need to, I'm going to worry about everything, all the negative thoughts, negative emotions in that 15 minutes of time frame. And whenever during the day, when you're feeling that, okay, now I'm getting, stress and I'm starting to have those thoughts, you delay them and you tell yourself that, okay, I have the time fixed for these. I'm not, ignoring these, but I'm just postponing these, and I'm going to think about them at 8 p.m. So try to practice this. This is going to help you. While studying, suddenly my mind gets distracted. Okay, this one is done. Master's degree results were not up to marks, so not able to believe in myself if I should continue my studies or not. Feel like lost what it takes to be the best. Okay, so your motivation and your self-esteem is somewhat, stored up. So it's okay if your master's degree result was not up to the mark. It's okay. I mean, this happens a lot. And if you're thinking that you want to study further, that means you had these plans of studying further, of having higher education. Remember why you started. Take this as an opportunity. If this instance has happened, that your master's marks were not up to the mark, you have another, opportunity over here to perform and test your potential. So if you want to study further, go ahead with it and try to test your potential. And with this thing happening, that your master's results were not up to the mark, I'm sure that when you when you enroll in your next maybe MPhil or whatever you want to, your next degree, you are going to do better. And this thing which is pulling you down at this moment, this thing is going to motivate you to perform. So analyze why higher education, further education is important to you. Why did you plan that in the first place? How important were these goals to you, and how much they are right now? Then practice positive, self-talk, and do it over a week, and you can see the results. And I'm sure that you'll do well. I want to know that, is it possible that every person who wanted to love once in a lifetime and is committed to this value very sincerely can love someone again with passage of time? And is there anything I can do individually to change his perspective to love again, because he faced heartbreak at a very early age? Okay, so this person you're talking about, this is a boy, and he was once in love and now is unable to love again because of the heartbreak and that traumatic experience. So first we need to acknowledge how much time has it been. Talking about facts, boys take much more time than girls do, and that is because of a lot of factors. Again, remember that you do not need to help that person. The person will take their own time to, move on and to recover from it. If in case you get into the whole system, you interact with the person and you try to help with them, what is going to happen is that you are going to fall in this cycle. You won't be able to help them recover. Rather, there might be conflicts. You might fall for that person, that person might fall for you, and you all might conclude with a situation where you have been hampering your own mental health while you were trying to help that person, and the person is not being helped. The person is not still not on the path of recovery, and instead you went down, and your mental health is now sacrificed. So rather than helping that person directly, what you can do is that ask that person to visit a mental health professional. Mental health professionals are not only for subject matters like mental health disorder or mental health illnesses. Rather, we take a spectrum of problems. We take up each and every problem when it comes to we deal with spectrum of problems. We have clients coming to us telling us they have a breakup and they need to recover from it, and we help them with that. There are clients who have anxiety issues. There are clients who don't know what to do in life. We guide them with their career goals and everything. So do not think that mental health professionals, psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists and everyone are only for to treat the mental disorders. It's not like that. Refer them, advise them to uh, go to visit a mental health professional for this, and let them have their own recovery time. Do not engage with the person directly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I have missed all the uh, good and positive comments, and that is because I was focusing on the questions. So I'm going to take a moment and thank you all. You have been amazing participants. Thank you for appreciating the whole session so much, and I'm able to do well because you guys are so supportive and motivating, and so you have been helping me with discussions, and you are actually working with your own problems and communicating, and that is what is boosting me up. Thank you so much. And Kirti, if there are any questions that I might have missed, please let me know.
No, I think we have covered them all. I was just keeping a check side by side. So we have covered them all. And thank you, Garima, once again. I must appreciate the way you took the Q&A session today, especially, answering each and every question. And the number of
Thank
questions
you.
were limitless today. So thank you so much for answering them so patiently. And I'm very excited for tomorrow's session. So I hope everybody who's here would also join us tomorrow, where we talk about, can I control how I feel? So, a lot of doubts that have not yet been, answered, and you still have some doubts. I'm sure Garima would be answering them tomorrow. And we can all meet up at 4 p.m. same time. We'll be sharing the link in the WhatsApp group also. And thank you so much, Garima, once again for your time.